So what can be said about John Carpenter's The Thing that hasn't been said already? Not much. This is a film that has been picked over, examined and reviewed to death. So I know I'm just adding to that pile. However, when I initially stated that I had an interest in reviewing it, there was a fair amount of positive feedback. So yes, this has long been in the works and I apologise, but I hope this will be worth it. For me, this is a film that first and foremost embodies not only body horror, but also how creature features should be. It's also a masterclass in practical effects. This is a film that is profoundly reliant on atmosphere, more specifically, the feeling of paranoia. At its core, in my view anyway, it's a story about paranoia and trust. The main theme is the monster lurking within. Anyone could have the monster in them, and the paranoia is justified. Obviously it does this through the alien mechanism, but the themes are there, and it's why the ending is left as it was, which I'll give my thoughts on closer to the end of this review. The Thing is a film that was so much more. It is a passion project through and through. The practical effects are so good in this movie for a reason. They were painstakingly worked on by Robin Bottin, 7 days a week, including late nights, for a year and 5 weeks. The intense passion that Bottin holds for his work bleeds through into this movie. The creatures weren't haphazardly put together, they were worked on, nurtured. They are a work of art unto themselves, and they serve to enhance the movie tenfold. The only effect that Bottin didn't personally produce alone was the transformed dog, which was partially created by Stan Winston. Without mentioning the practical effects in a review of The Thing can be likened to blasphemy. They essentially make the film. Aside from the incredible work Bottin managed to produce, as said, the design themselves and how they were implemented is exactly how a creature feature should be, how a body horror should be. This is the perfect and prime example of how body horror can be included to a massive degree, but not be gratuitous. A lot of people may disagree, but body horror just for the sake of it, when it doesn't serve a story or isn't artistically added and shot, is for the most part gratuitous. The Thing manages to include it in ways which build and climb the story and atmosphere, the tension culminating to explosive reveals. It's a film that also includes the body horror in a way that is smart. Take the body cavity scene. When you first watched that, were you expecting that reveal? I'm guessing not. And of course, you were shocked, which is one of the primary reasons we throw body horror into films, for shock. But when you consider it, that scene was really intelligently thought out. Not only is it surprising, which adds to the shock and awe, it's unexpected simply from specifics of the body horror. It's likely something you would never have seen before. The creature they created for this film means they managed to think outside of the box, in the respect of how they could add the body horror, to enhance not only the impact of the creature, but also add to the main theme, paranoia. It's fantastic, near perfection when you view it in that regard. And let's go back to those main themes. Paranoia. This is the lifeblood of The Thing. The theme that causes the tension, the atmosphere, the scenes which have left it now a cult classic. Part of that comes from the incredible writing from the early drafts of Tobe Hooper and Kim Henkel, and the final screenplay by Bill Lancaster. The early drafts by the co-creators of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre have to be noted here, because they would have served as the backbone to the final film, and it's clear when you analyse the movie, the atmosphere and tension, some of the scenes and how the reveals occur, or at least the surprises. You can see some of that inspiration coming through. Though obviously final credit goes to Bill Lancaster, who amazingly and tragically was in fact removed from other works after The Thing was not a financial success at the box office. In hindsight, I'm sure Universal would have acted differently if they knew how highly regarded it is today. The paranoia is enhanced through the acting. The cast features none other than Kurt Russell in perhaps some of his best work, at least in my view anyway, along with Anthony Brimley, T.K. Carter, Keith David and more, obviously. The acting throughout this film serves as a testament to both John Carpenter as a director and of course the abilities of all those involved. When looking at this film, it's easy to see how this could have fallen into B-movie territory. However, again, the fact that this was clearly a passion project removed it from that risk. The atmosphere the ensemble cast managed to generate is palpable. You can feel it, the suspicion, the fear of what may be, the paranoia. You can cut it with a knife, and I know a lot of people will likely think, oh, it's looking back on a movie with rose-tinted glasses. Absolutely not. As always for these reviews, I take a fresh look at the films I'm talking about, and this absolutely holds up. It isn't just the acting though. The atmosphere and story is enhanced by its setting. Set in Antarctica, the snow, the cold, the dark, they all become part of the story, and it's this setting that adds so much to this story and again, just accumulates that feeling of horror, suspense and tension. Now of course, this movie has some history to explore. It's not an entirely original concept, and many point to the movie The Thing from Another World. However, John Carpenter's The Thing is in fact more strictly based on the novel Who Goes There by John W. Campbell. And more interestingly, but fittingly for the channel, Carpenter has acknowledged H.P. Lovecraft as an inspiration for the film, which flies in the face of those so quick to shut down the comparison. However, it was considered a flop. It had a production budget of $15 million and only grossed $3.1 million at its opening weekend. It did, however, go on to take $19 million domestically, though this is again still something that was considered a financial flop. The reception was negative as well, incredibly. More specifically, the effects were praised as being technically exceptional, but aesthetically repulsive and excessive. Robert Ebert, my go-to reviewer in these retrospectives, stated the film was disappointing. He found it scary though, and it was a great bath bag movie. However, it did have apparently illogical plot elements and poor characterizations. Vincent Canby for the New York Times called it a foolish, depressing, overproduced movie that mixes horror with science fiction to make something that is fun as neither one thing or the other. Sometimes it looks as if it aspired to be the quintessential moron movie of the 80s. And this is one of the most surprising reviews in my eyes. David Anson for Newsweek wrote, "Astonishingly, Carpenter blows it. There's a big difference between shock effects and suspense, and in sacrificing everything at the altar of gore, Carpenter sabotages the drama. The Thing is so single-mindedly determined to keep you awake that it almost puts you to sleep." Which again, I just question what on earth people were thinking when they reviewed this movie. It's as if they went into the film expecting a gangster drama or a rom-com and reviewed it under that premise. Of course, the film has now since gone on to receive a cult following along with incredible critical acclaim. It's even considered one of the best science fiction films of all time. My, how time changes. And I know, Rotten Tomatoes isn't the be-all and end-all with regards to reviews, and if a film is good, but they are an aggregator of reviews, and The Thing has a certified fresh of 81%, which isn't too bad considering it was panned when it was first released. It was also reviewed as Carpenter's most accomplished and underrated directorial effort, the best science fiction horror film of 1982, an incredibly competitive year, and perhaps even the best genre motion picture of the decade, by John Kenneth Muir. And Empire even listed it in the top 500 greatest movies of all time. Again, not bad considering it was panned when it was first released. In my personal opinion, this is simply a must-see for any science fiction fan, any fan of creature features, body horror and horror in general. It is an absolute masterclass in suspense, practical effects and atmosphere. And now, as promised, my thoughts on the ending. The film is, at its core, about paranoia. The ending is left purposely ambiguous. No one is the Thing, or both are. I feel anyone who reveals who the Thing was actually at the end of the movie definitively ruins the film entirely. We are supposed to not know, and I feel that's the point. Anyone could be the Thing, and in that universe now, anyone could be, as the Thing may now be in society. The ending is absolutely perfect. It stays true to the core themes of the movie, paranoia. Watch it if you haven't already, because you are missing out. But as always guys, I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Does anything I've said ring true with your opinion? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And is The Thing one of your favourite films of all time? If so, why? Please do let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section, and if you did enjoy this video then please consider leaving it a like and subscribing to the channel for more reviews in the future. If you think this video is worth it and you want to support me, the channel and what I do, then head on over to my Patreon page, the link is in the description box. I've been Mr. H, and until next time, I'll catch you in the comments.